Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Reno Uke Fest interview. We are here with Little Rev, who's one of the longest running ukulele performers in the country, I think. And we're so happy to have you here, Rev. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for asking me. Nice to see you.
We're doing these interviews, of course, so that we can allow our participants to get to know our artists before they come, give you an idea of what they're going to be teaching, and so you can kind of put together your workshop schedule. And so excited to have Rev back. Rev, you were at Reno, I think maybe 3 years ago, and I mean, of course, many, many times before that. But as far as Perry and I, we were there for our first year, 2022. It's great to have you
Yeah,
back.
I'm glad to be invited back. It's better than the alternative.
All right, I've got a few questions for you today, and the first one is, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, as far as musical background and why I'm at where I'm at right now is probably hours of stories. But in a nutshell, it is I grew up around some really great music. My mom sang a lot of Broadway songs. My grandparents, harmonica, piano. So from a very young age, I was always around music. My dad is an audiophile, and um, I was always playing a pretty wide variety of music, and that kind of led me down the rock and roll rabbit hole as a teenager. Electric guitar, because good guitar players got all the chicks, so that was also part of my motivation. But at some point in the early '90s, I got someone gave me a ukulele, and I fell in love with it, and started teaching myself. Eventually, started meeting other people who are really good and kind of showcasing the potential. When it comes to ukulele, my real fascination is syncopated strumming techniques, right hand technique. So rolls, triple rolls, syncopated strums, vaudeville tricks, things like that is really what drew me in, at least early on. And as has gone on, it's taken me down a lot of different avenues in terms of what one can pursue on the ukulele, from finger style to single string lead, chord melody, campanella, and finger style based approaches. And there's just a million different ways that you can go on the instrument. So that keeps me pretty interested. I have a degree in education, so I love to teach. And I was a classroom grade school music teacher for about a half a dozen years, as well as a college music lecturer for half a dozen years. And I left that in '05. Started writing instructional books for Hal Leonard, and really touring pretty heavily about 2005, 2006. And prior to that, mostly more Midwestern stuff. But then after that, I started crisscrossing the country. And last year in 2024, I hit the million-mile marker for a million miles traveled. Just looking at all my mileage reporting for my taxes and everything, and my combined Hal Leonard book sales easily tops over a million as well. I wish I could say that made me rich. It didn't. It made the publisher rich, but I don't say that sarcastically or begrudgingly. I'm grateful for my opportunities to write books for Hal Leonard, and as well as my self-published stuff too. So yeah, that's, I mean, just kind of a brushing over of a little bit. And now in 2025, I've been going pretty strong in terms of teaching now for easily 25 years, probably closer to 30, because I did quite a bit in the '90s. I just wasn't really on the national radar during those years. I was mostly around the Midwest doing stuff. And people jokingly call me the Johnny Appleseed of the ukulele because of all the miles I've traveled and got people started, beginning ukulele and all the other different classes that I've taught. That's a compliment. I've been called that. I've been called the Woody Guthrie of the ukulele. That's a compliment too. So Yeah, I love to teach. I love to perform, and it's probably the most worthwhile thing that we can do is share what we know with other people, get them excited about it. You know, it's just a great thing that you can do if you end up um, being the recipient of a good teacher or choose to be a teacher. And America doesn't revere its teachers the way it should. So I try to lift up not just the student but the teacher as well, because we don't do this to get rich. We do this because we love to share what we know and we love to be educators.
Well, and we get our rewards in those ways, right? Of seeing the students have the aha moment. I love the Johnny Appleseed analogy because I joined the ukulele world when I got out of school in 2010, and you were one of the first performers that we had come to the strum shop that my dad had started in Dan Elliott in Roseville. And I remember, man, you taught me the figure eight strum, which
Yep.
I do periodically, and man, it's so fun. The audience, it makes me look so professional when I'm like, I just start. All you gotta do is move your arm this way and go like this, and people are like, "Whoa, wow, she really knows what she's doing." And you taught these triplet strums that I never did get the hang of, but I didn't practice them like I should. So yeah, you planted the seed in me certainly early on, and I thought I was gonna go off and do something else with my life, but you were one of the people that just I was like, what? I can like travel around and do this for a living? This guy's doing it. And I remember you showing up and talking actually in the back room with my dad. We were talking about nutrition on the road and all these different things. And I thought, man, it's just like the longer you're on the road, the longer you learn these different things of how to take care of yourself and how to kind of share your knowledge and wisdom with others. So yeah, you come up in my mind often in my memory of the wisdom that I use now.
Oh,
Thank
well,
you
I
for that.
appreciate you saying that, and it's my honor. Your dad was, an important guy to me, and also a dedicated, just true, right in your heart teacher. Loved to teach, good at teaching, loved music, and so thus wanted to pass it on to as many people as he could touch, and so that was passed on. The torch was passed on to you. You have a lot of good role models early on, and what's so great about this is, you talk about 2010 or 2012 or whatever, and like our styles just evolve. I'm a whole different player than what I was in 2010. In teaching other people, I'm working hard to like keep up on lessons and stay ahead of my students and arranging and as I do that, I'm improving and reinforcing what I know, and it just keeps getting stronger and stronger. Whether I'm talking about thirds and sixths in finger style, or I'm talking about different places I can play the blues scale up and down the neck, or different strumming techniques, whatever it might be, the more you do it, the better and stronger it gets. So you keep doing that, and you're looking at 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, not to mention all the songs you're learning that are lessons in and of themselves. And pretty soon you look back and you see how much you've evolved. When I started playing ukulele, I played with a guitar pick in my hand, and I wore the top off my first ukulele, and it looked like Willie Nelson's guitar, and
Wow.
but I didn't know how to play it, and then all of a sudden I saw, people playing with their fingers, and then I started doing that, and I wasn't doing much melodically. I was just doing a lot rhythmically, learning chords, slurring, sliding chords, little embellishments here and there. And then pretty soon I started doing single string, chord melody fairly early on, and then later on finger style, which I'm still, you know, trying to push myself to become the best finger style player I can be. And so there's always another hurdle to jump over.
And somewhere along the way, you did songwriting. You started writing songs.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I've been writing songs all along, pretty much since seventh grade. I just, my shows are always, the emphasis tends to be on a wide variety of traditional styles: folk, bluegrass, blues, Tin Pan Alley, ragtime, Celtic music, working class, stuff, social conscious stuff, all that stuff that I really love. And then if I can squeak in an original here, an original there, my formula tends to be sing a couple songs that people know or can relate to or sing along on, traditional stuff. And I do my share of roots rock, and I do, obviously running a ukulele club. I'm singing pop stuff all the time. It's just what's your favorite? What do you enjoy doing the most? But if I can do some stuff people know, then I squeak in an original. Then I do some stuff people know, and I squeak in an original. And I like that balance. It really depends on the venue too, and the opportunity to play. If I'm at a house concert, they're there to listen to everything I do, so I can do a lot more original music. If I'm playing at a tavern, people are drinking, then I'm going to throw in some Allman Brothers or some Marshall Tucker or some Bob Dylan or whatever, because people dig that in that situation, and they're not going to listen to the stories the same way that they would in a listening room.
Well, and one thing I really admire about your performing is that you always pay homage to the original writer of the song. You tell a story about the song in some way, and your introductions are beautiful. And then recently we were together somewhere. What was it, a Shokin Uke Fest, or
Yeah.
there was another one too recently, and you started speaking, and I thought you were just speaking, but you started reciting a poem, and just the intensity is not the right word, but the intention that you were speaking with the poem, just, you've got a way of really causing people to like sit up and listen and want to know what you have to say, because what you say is so meaningful. It's never like just frivolous information. It's like some kind of history. Or the time you told the story about your friend who wasn't able to get medical marijuana for his issue. And you were saying how important it was to him to have that for his pain, and that there's something where the government wouldn't allow him to have it. So you were just really advocating for, the freedom to choose something like that. And it brought me to tears at the end. Everyone in the audience was all going, just let him have it. He needs it in his life. But just the fact that you were passing that along, and the way you did it was with such compassion and depth. That's just a really beautiful way that you present your music. I like it.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So that takes us to question number 2. Tell us a little bit about your teaching philosophy.
Well, I kind of hinted a little bit at this. My goal is really lift them up, lift people up, give them a lot of encouragement so that they feel like they can do it, and that means lift them up, never knock them down, and that's part of the process of getting people excited. There's a lot of anxiety in learning new skills, whatever they may be. And the stories we tell ourselves are sometimes rooted in other people's voices that we can or cannot do something. And whether we choose to listen to that or honor what our interests are and what gets us excited, the teacher's role is to convince people that they're capable of doing something. And then there's many aspects to that. One is you have to know if you are presenting the right material to the right audience. So it's important to know your audience. Who's coming to my concert? Who's coming to my class? Is this multi-level? Is this all beginners? Is it advanced? Your verbiage is real important so that people don't show up in the wrong place. And if you continue to teach, you're invariably going to wind up in a situation where you're going to have oftentimes a number of people who find what you're doing difficult. And so I think from the get-go of doing this traveling and teaching, I've always been fascinated by the idea of how do I make something harder if I need to make it harder, and how do I make this easier if I need to make it easier? Am I capable of, on the drop of a dime, doing that? And there are many variables to a low rev class. I'm not a pushover. I don't want the one student who is a hot rodder to speed up a class that's largely beginner, advanced beginner, or even intermediate. And same way that I don't want, one very beginner to slow down the class for what appears to be a room full of people who really want to be challenged more. And so that being intuitive enough to figure that out and knowing how to deviate and expand upon what you're doing is really important. But really, my goal is inspiration and a little bit of perspiration, because you got to work for it too. Nothing comes easy. But if you can inspire people, I call my form of teaching edutainment. And edutainment means that you're having such a damn good time at my class that you're laughing a little because I'm telling jokes or quotes or proverbs and little things I like to put into my classes to inspire people, so it's not so dry and like I'm talking, at you all the time, but that you feel like there's room for reciprocity if that's necessary, and you're having a good time, you're laughing a little bit, and then when you leave, you realize not only did you have a good time, but you learned some things too. And of course, with technology today, there's a lot of room for follow-up review with video and other things that we can share online for students to then go back and master um, whatever it is they might be studying. So yeah, as a person with a degree in education and a lifelong learner, in many other things from Tai Chi to hunting and fishing to all kind of things that I like to do. Just the other day out trout fishing with a guy who knows just so much, and I said, pretend I don't know anything, and I like to be the student too. So if you like to be the student and you're not too full of yourself, then you let the ego go, then you never forget what it's like to be that person who's sitting in front of you, and you have a vested interest in wanting to ensure that they leave there feeling like they learned something and that their time and money was well spent.
Well, Viggy and I took your class at Ashokan, and you were one thing I really liked about it is you started right out and you said, I'm letting you know right now that you are not going to be a master of this technique by the end of this class. And you gave some analogy, I can't remember, but the point was, you're here to start to learn this, and we're going to do as much as we can in this class, but this is not a 1 hour technique. This is a 3-month technique or something like that. And I think that helped everyone relax a little bit and go, okay, it's not my problem that I'm not getting it right away. And I'm going
Yeah.
to take in as much as I can without expecting too much from myself and committing. He said it's 3 months, so I'm going to like mentally commit. This is going to be a 3-month technique.
Yeah. I think you're talking about claw hammer.
That was it. That is so cool.
Yeah, that's not a one and done. That's a
Yeah.
3 to 6 month curve.
Yeah, that's so cool. Something else you said too. I interviewed Bernadette, who's going to be joining us this year, and she really focuses on beginning students. And she said something like what you just said. You got to be careful as a teacher of what you say to your students because it could become their inner dialogue later.
Yeah.
So, at Reno, Perry and I discussed who we're going to hire and who we'd like to work with. And there's always like, they got to be a good hang, but they've got to be a good educator. You have to be paying attention to your students and giving them what they need. And like you said, it's a dynamic experience as a teacher. You can come in there with your agenda and your handout. And if you just try to plow through beginning to end of your handout, you're not paying attention to the audience and how they're receiving it. You could cause a lot of harm in people and not even realize it. But that's something you're super conscientious of, and that's
Yeah. You do your homework, be prepared, have good good stuff, and try to be flexible and like water, just try, because if you're too rigid, you're gonna have problems, or you're going to turn other people off, so um, some of these things that I teach, I have been doing them a million times. So I mean, I can operate on autopilot. I could be a robot if I wanted to, but I still have to show up and, one, be a real person. Two, be approachable. Three, inspire people. Be present and awake to the moment. And every class is different. You can't make the presumption that this is just like the 200 other times I taught people how to do a roll stroke. You know.
Yeah, yeah. You also had a really good way of getting people not to be noodling in your class. You just kind of commanded the attention and said, "Everyone, pay attention right now. I'll give you a moment to do that in a moment." And I know that's a big complaint for people, especially with hard of hearing, is that someone's next to them. And we have kinetic learners who are like, "I can't learn it unless I'm doing it." And then we have people who need to listen and see. So I appreciate that about you, that and everyone watching at home, when you're taking Rev's class, you can count on him being able to make sure that you can hear everything that's going on and still get a chance to practice during class. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be teaching at Reno this year?
So I'll be teaching a level 2 class called Discovering Tremolo Technique on the ukulele. And tremolo is something that's done on every instrument. It's very pronounced on instruments like mandolin, tamburica, balalaika. There are many instruments that tremolo is inherent in the main aspect of learning. Ukulele, our initial foray into tremolo is if we're lucky enough to be a part of a club and it's your first time or two, you sit up and you take notice at the fact that at the end of every song, the whole club goes like a bunch of Muppets, and you go, "Whoa, what is that?" And then you try to copy it, but nobody really shows you the form, the variety of ways in which the hand can be positioned that might be better suited for you. And so as with everything I do, I try to present a variety of different options, not to confuse, but to say, try these. Which way was easiest for you? Whatever way was easiest for you, stick to that way and get really good at it, and then give people the skills to learn tremolo. And so we'll be looking at all of those different ways. I think I'm going to be showing like 4 different ways to demonstrate demonstrating tremolo, and exercises, some songs to show you how tremolo works, whether they're the end of a song like "Goodnight Irene," or maybe you want to start a doo-wop song out with, instead of just going, you want to go 2, 3, 4.
Nice.
So what are some practical approaches for using tremolo that you can start to do right away? And if nothing else, when everyone else is doing tremolo at the end of the song, you'll be able to do it real confidently and strongly at the end of that class. It really breaks things down in a really nice manner of how to do it. What are the pitfalls? What are problems that people run into when they're doing tremolo? And all of that. So that's called Discovering Tremolo. It's a level 2 class, not for the complete beginner, but I do think that just about anybody would do well to take that class, whether you're already doing tremolo and you think you're good at it, or you're a very beginner and you want to understand how it works. So that's one class that I'm doing, and I've been teaching that a long time. I enjoy doing that class a lot. And then I've got a newer class that I created from going down to like the Carolinas and doing a lot of festivals down in the Blue Ridge Mountains and in the Appalachian region of America, where I find myself often. And so I created a class called Mountain Ballads for Uke. and that's also a level two class. It skews more towards repertoire, so there's a lot of really really cool songs. I don't have the packet in front of me, but there's a few common things like Shady Grove, which are part of the old time string band repertoire and mountain music repertoire. And then there's lesser known things like Asheville Junction, Swannanoa Tunnel. We may look at a fiddle tune or two that's really synonymous and fun with mountain music, but a lot of ballad based stuff. Not just strumming, but there'll be some basic melodies for those who are melody players and they want to do more than just sing and strum as well. And I'll demonstrate a variety of ways in which those songs can be played. So people think about it, and there's a lot of really cool history in those songs. So anyone who likes folk music, bluegrass music, old time stuff, Scotch Irish influence in America, that's a really fun class. It's not going to be the class that you have to work the hardest in, but it'll be a lot of fun and very enjoyable and a really unique variety of tunes. If you're looking to build your repertoire for traditional material, then that's a good class. And let's see what else. A couple more here. Learn to play sitting on top of the world. This is an 8-bar blues, and anybody who wants to do the homework ahead of time, you can find a version. I think there's a version of Perry and I doing this on YouTube as well, if I remember right.
I'll find
Um,
that and
yeah, I know we did Buckets of Rain and You Won't Quit Me, Baby. I think we did Sit on Top of the World, if I remember right. Um, but it's an 8-bar blues. It's an iconic tune. It was done by some really famous people like the Mississippi Sheiks and Howling Wolf, Doc Watson. And so what I've done with my arrangement is I've combined the best of some of the most iconic versions and kind of have a little rev version by sandwiching and piecing together some of the cool parts of each of the iconic versions. And it's really nice. Major chords, minor chords in there. A half step flatted seventh turn at the end of the tune is really cool. And a basic blues turnaround, which is, this kind of in there as well. So even for the non-melody players can sometimes learn a really basic blues turnaround, feel like they're doing something cool. I have a simple generic solo that I wrote out for it, and I can even tie in some strum hand technique if time permits. So you can learn how to take a blues song like this and go. So you can get some triplets in there and
wait,
stuff like.
I gotta say that was the triplet that I learned way early on, and I remember you teaching that with the pinky goes first, but your whole hand goes out, so no one can tell what you're doing. That is so
Yep.
cool.
Yeah. That goes back to Roy Smeck. So he was the guy that did index, thumb, and pinky, and that, and George Formby as well. So
Ah, yeah, one of the
George
and
Formby would do more super circular, you know.
uh-huh. So that brings in like the visual aspect too, and the mystery of I don't even know how he's doing it. It just looks like he's going like that on the strings.
Yeah, it's abracadabra. It's hocus pocus. It's Harry Potter and the magic wand.
Uh-huh.
So that's what it looks like when you do that one. But it's very, there's three movements. It's very mechanical, when you're first learning it, and then just a lot of practice.
If only I had been doing that for the last 10 years, I'd be really good at it. Maybe I'll get it down by Reno. We'll see.
Well, I'd be happy to sit down and show you. So
Oh,
you
thanks.
know, you just got to corner me. So, Rob, you're showing me the triple. That's what I did. A lot of people think I'm this sweet, nice guy, but when I was starting out, I could be ruthless if there was something I wanted to know. You know how to do that, and you're going to show me, and you're not leaving until you show me.
Cool. All right. And you've got a few more workshops.
There's one called Super Easy Blues Solos in C, and this is basic 12 bar blues in C, using chord fragments, double stops, boogie woogie, little bit of blues scale or pentatonic with a flatted third. And so you don't have to be a master melody player, but it's also interesting enough for the really good players. I wrote out 24 solos in the key of C as part of an upcoming book project that has not been published yet. But the whole goal was to inspire students of mine who came to me when I take on a private student. I ask them, what are your goals? And sometimes it's a sentence or two, but other times it's a paragraph or two. And then once I read their goals, all the curriculum that I lay out for them, because my students come to me and sign up for about a half a dozen lessons at a time. And so once they commit to that, then I create curriculum for them and or draw from what I've already have. And when I have improvisational goals from a student, I want to learn how to solo Little Rev, then that's what inspired it. So my students inspired me to write these really fun, tasty, simple blues solos. Like here's my favorite one. I'll give just a little piece of it.
That looks like so much fun to play.
Yeah, so that's called the Jug Band Serenade. And I've got a lot of follow-up resources for people, or they can record in the class so they don't forget how they go. None of them are like, super, super hard or anything like that. They're very accessible, and they're things you'll want to play. And I show you how to take a generic solo and then integrate it into common songs, because there's a million songs that are 12 bar blues. So there's a lot of practical applications for these solos that you can do other things with. You can also break them apart, and regurgitate pieces of them so that you have something to play in another solo. If I teach a solo that goes, that's like every other Chuck Berry solo. So, and that's only the first four measures. So anytime someone says take it and you're playing a 12 bar, if you know how to go, you can play that. And same thing with boogie woogie. So once you learn a boogie woogie pattern, which you'll learn in this class, if someone says take it, you can just play that boogie woogie in a 12 bar. The only question is, can you play it at any tempo? Have you practiced it only at one speed, or have you practiced it where you could do it like rockabilly fast? That's the only question you have to answer. So my point is, there's a lot of applications for these solos, and that's part of my goal in doing that. The other class that is listed as level 2 and 3, just because we're doing a lot of melody playing. And then there's a survey of triplet strokes, which you and I have already been talking about in this interview, and that is learning how to do a 1-2-3 pattern. Sounds pretty choppy when you first start doing it, but after you get it so that it sounds like a galloping horse, and then integrating that into a song using just little bits and pieces like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1, or 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1, and where would that work in a song, and what types of songs, so how do you integrate it in there? Lots of fun. Everybody ought to learn how to do a triplet at some point in their evolution when you feel ready for that. It's unique to the ukulele. No other instrument does triplets in its strumming the way that ukulele desires. It was there when the Portuguese brought it to Hawaii, and any guitar player can take their pick and go 1 2 3 1 2 3 and play a jig or throw on a triplet in their solo or whatever. Or strumming chords 1 2 3. If it's a doo-wop song or some song that has like that 6/8 feel to it, or anywhere you're going to throw in a triplet against a 4/4 time or whatever it's going to be. But ukulele has got it as part of its history. So, if you're a uke player and you've been playing a long time and you don't feel confident doing a triplet, you owe it to yourself to learn how to do a triplet because it's a journey. It takes time, if you leave my class, you'll be exposed to a few different triplets. You'll figure out which one is best for you, and then you'll go on about your business of just practicing it over weeks or months or years. And I have students who worked on it for years and now they're just killing it. I have students who learned it in weeks to months. And so it really depends on you and how disciplined you are in your practice. But I love doing that class because I love triplets. And then my last class is arpeggio. Arpeggios are for everyone. This is just a pattern playing class that teaches, I don't know, depending on how efficiently we use the time, 4 to 6 of the most common patterns from inside outside, 4 3 2 1 sequence, alternating thumb, pinch techniques, how to finger pick in a waltz time, 1 2 3 triplet patterns, which make really good finger picking soloing as well. So how do you take a simple arpeggio pattern and use it to create a solo when you don't know what else to do? If you're strumming, you ain't going nowhere. And you happen to be smiling at the song leader. And as a song leader, somebody keeps smiling at me over and over in the group. It's sort of like they're saying to me, I'd be willing to take a solo, Little Rev. So I look out at them and I go, yeah, take it, Sue. And then all of a sudden, Sue's got this terrified look on her face. Like, I didn't want to take a solo, I'm just having a good time. But Sue had taken my arpeggio class and she practiced her triplet 1 2 3 sequence. And she said, okay, well, I'll just arpeggiate those chords. And she goes,
yeah.
so,
Combine that with some inversions, and you sound like you know what you're doing.
yep. And no one's going to say, hey, you just played a pattern over and over again for your solo. Why did you do that? Like, they'll just be like, oh, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
You get to decide what to do. So that's a pattern playing class. And the three main concepts are: one, how to, what are the basic patterns when you're starting out learning to become a good finger picker? Identify them. What are the most common? Two, how do we use them? Well, accompanying others when everyone else is strumming and you want to add another layer. Or two, self-accompaniment when you get sick of strumming all the time to back yourself up and you want to be able to finger pick and sing at the same time. And then lastly, how can arpeggios be used for fills and breaks and solos and interludes and stuff like that. So again, another real practical, user-friendly class. And they're all things that I really enjoy teaching. So, it's just an honor to be able to do that and share that with people.
It's going to be a real struggle, I think, for people. We've got 5 classes going at once. So if you're watching at home and you're inspired by Rev, sometimes people come to a festival and they just choose their teacher and they just go for it, and they always do that teacher in that class. So if you've got some other hard choices to make, I could see why, because this is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think this has given everyone a really great idea about, your personality, your teaching style, what you're going to be teaching. and they can make their choices from there. We can finish up with asking you, is there anything you want to share with us? I know that you're going to be going on tour. If you have any products or books, you said maybe a book coming out, or let us know where we can go to check out what merch you have and all of those books that you've written and things like that.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'll be vending at the festival when I'm not teaching. I don't know, but at that point in the tour, hopefully I'll have a lot of stuff. But sometimes the inventory goes up and down when I'm on a lengthy tour. But I should have a good variety of my books with me, and recordings, T-shirts, hats, lots of different ephemera for people to look at, and a lot of good study material type of stuff. People will find that at my website, littlerev.com. I also have an online school of pre-recorded classes, and these are just things that I taught other groups via Zoom. There's now, I think, about 18 pre-recorded classes, two harmonica, and the rest are all ukulele, a repertoire, and technique-based classes. I sell those for $25. So if you can't get to my a class you really want because they're just something a little bit more important to you, you can always look at my online archive and study with me that way. But I'm hoping you're going to at least choose one or two Little Rev classes amongst the great offerings. These guys did a good job of booking some very, very, very good teachers. So you have some tough choices to make. And as far as books and other stuff coming out, there's always something in the pipeline. So just talk to me, and I can let you know what I've got out there and what's coming. I have my homepage is like a basic hello and what does a year hold and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of info, photo gallery and bio page and my products page, a page with all my programs that I present, my one-man shows. There's another page that lists a lot of my workshops and things like that too. So there's a lot to explore there. I have a semi-defunct blog called Fountain of Uke. I haven't posted on it in a long time, and it's in dire need of some bug fixes and link fixes and things like that. But there's a lot of cool old information about different uke players and uke history and things like that on that blog, Fountain of Uke.
Okay. Well, I know that Perry and I are both, but Perry is really looking forward to playing with you. And I can't wait to see you and the Knote brothers and Casey McGill and Conrad and Bernadette. And who else did I not mention? Oh, Ray. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your travels with Ray. I guess you're hitting the road together.
Yeah, so this is very unusual for me. I'm a lone wolf. Really, the only people that you'll find traveling with me is my family, and I just I like to travel alone. I've been doing it a long time. As I said earlier, hit a million-mile marker, and it's become a thing of beauty. I can't control the weather, and I can't control tired truck drivers swerving into my lane and almost killing me. And there are many things I can't control, but returning to a lot of the same places year after year or every other year has been a very gratifying career choice. And just to highlight how important it is that there are good teachers out there and that they feel like their choice to be a teacher has been rewarded is very important to me. And Ray taught like 30 years as a teacher in the classroom, teaching young students, in Pittsburgh. And when you retire after that many years, there's no confetti falling down. There's no big balloon drop. There's no big ballroom ceremony where someone presents you with one of those giant checks that says you made a difference in a lot of people's lives, and we're going to give you here's a National Endowment for the Arts retiring teacher award. It doesn't happen. So having been around Ray enough times, he's a very good guy. He's a humble guy. He's a team player. He taught in the classroom. You have to be salt of the earth to do that for 30 years. And I thought, I haven't been out west in a long time, since way before COVID, 2017, and I'm going west. So I'm going to take you with me, and we'll do a lot of team teaching and swapping off, and where we can work together, we will, and where we can't, we'll do our own thing. And so we've got Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Texas, Utah, Nevada, California tour, which will go about 4 to 5 weeks, and we'll be crisscrossing the country. We'll be posting about it, and again, we're real excited to be doing some stuff together, and we'll also be doing some of our own things. When Ray is at Reno, he's offering classes that he's teaching. We won't be team teaching, but I'm sure we'll be performing together and jamming together. And by that point in the tour, we'll have some really good things worked up to share with people. That'll probably be very exciting. We're doing some surf music together, and just a lot of cool stuff that we'll have. I'm sure he'll be backing me up quite a bit, and I'll be playing with him as well. So should be a real exciting trip, and it's only going to happen one time. So, that's it. That's it. And then I go back to my same old lonely self.
Yeah, I took one of Ray's classes at Mighty Uke Day in Michigan, and he's such a fantastic teacher. And just like you, he was really conscientious of the students, and he was teaching them how to do some kind of cool rocker. He's an old rocker guy, so he was
Yep.
teaching them that. He's going to be doing a class on pedals and things that people have been asking for. So I'm excited that he's joining the circuit and that people are going to get a chance to get to know him too.
Yeah, he's got a lot to offer, and he's very approachable. And we, those of us who play ukulele, almost every one of us. I don't care what they say. Look at me, I'm like the most traditional guy in the world. But we all started out with. Yeah. So it's good to hear somebody doing it really, really well, and
Yeah.
that's his shtick, is rock and roll on the
Yeah.
ukulele.
And singing, we have him down for the same vocal workshop twice because
Yeah.
Harry took it and he's like, this is the workshop that people are going to want to take for vocals. Yeah. Oh, how
Yeah.
cool, man. Well, it's so fun to just sit here and hang with you and get to know you a little bit better and give everybody at home a chance to meet Rev if you haven't already, although I'm sure you have. I mean, you've been on the circuit longer than ukulele festivals have been a thing. So.
I'm a dinosaur.
We call you the OG, the original gangster.
I'm part of the ukulele mafia.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you at the next interview.